It was in the middle of the Great Depression, 32 I think, and with the drought, times were tough. Farm prices were down to nothing, and folks were losing their farms left and right.
The Farmers' Holiday was a farming movement in the 1932 and 1933 in Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa. And it mainly in Minnesota, it was the largest and most lasting movement was in Yellow Medicine, Canby, Ojai, Chippewa, and Lacaparo County. It was a response essentially to the Great Depression and the lack of good commodity prices. And what was farmers banding together and essentially trying to influence prices, trying to have a comfortable living. Farmers' Holiday is called the holiday because essentially what farmers said is we are not going to farm anymore. We're taking a holiday. Just to give you an example of how badly they were struggling, after the crash in 1929, farmers were, the value of corn, for example, was so worthless that they were actually burning it for heat because they couldn't afford heat, like fuel or even wood to buy. And so they were burning their corn for essentially to live. And in 1932, 24% of the country was in agriculture. So this was affecting a quarter of the population in the United States. So really it was just their anger and frustration made real, and it was action. So it was these blockades, and it was the farm sales, shouting down farm sales. They did penny auctions where they would assign people. So if the farm was being foreclosed upon because they couldn't pay their bills, they would assign someone and they would say, all right, you're going to bid on this tractor, you're going to bid on this baler. Nobody else bid on it. And if somebody else did bid on it, it could have been dangerous for you because they were a very tight-knit group of farmers who only wanted to benefit themselves, and they didn't want to see this other farmer basically without his farm anymore. So.
Harold.
Reuben.
We're here to help you, Harold.
Don't really need any help. They didn't leave us much. I think we can make it on our own.
No, not that. You ain't leaving. We're going to stop this sale.
Nah, nobody can help me.
Look, we're all with you.
1932, sport was high, and Farmers' Holiday started doing blockades, penny auctions, and they even started building community gardens in Marshall in particular. And with the blockades, what they did was they would often turn back farmers. If they had perishable goods like eggs or milk in the beginning, they would let them through. But if it was chickens or cattle, they would physically take them off the farmer, and they would then send them into town and say, we'll give them back to you when you come back. So they would let them go into town, they'd come back, and they'd give it back and send them on their way. And farmers in the beginning were understanding with this. Some farmers, there were altercations where a farmer was driving his cows into town, and he kind of got into a scuffle with the protesters, and they physically held him down, took his wagon, brought it into the ditch, tied his horses up, and then let him go and said, you know, we don't mean any harm, we're just trying to raise prices, this is what we're doing. And this was all good and well in the beginning, but then as the years went on, farmers started to get a little frustrated, nobody was making money, so then it turned more violent, and barricades were actually run through. They would run their wagons through, or they would flash guns, and public opinion slowly started to change on Holiday. I think the holiday was important because without the Farmers' Holiday in Midwest, in Minnesota, Wisconsin, we wouldn't see as many family farms as we do today. Yes, there are less family farms, but in the 1930s, there were so many farmers being foreclosed upon that the family farm was threatened to become almost non-existent. The only farms that could pay back their loans were those larger farms. So in my family, our farm is a legacy farm. It was around during this period. It was saved during this period. And I think it's just important for people to know about because farming is such a pivotal and important part of southwestern Minnesota. If you're from a farming community, you need to know about Holiday because of the importance of how it saved essentially a dying community. I mean, in 1970, to give an example, 1932, 24% of the country was in agriculture in some shape or form. 1970, 4%. So, I mean, we've dropped in just 40 years down to 4% of the people are involved in agriculture. So it's a key moment in farming history.
Let's get on with the sale.
Wait a minute, you gotta release that man in there first.
We ain't holding him. He's free to go anytime he wants.
Sheriff, do something about this.
What, Marshal?
Let's get on with the sale.
He's right, Marshal. By law, we've got to see this sale through.
All right, we got a corn planter. What am I bid on the corn planter? Anybody bid $35? Huh? 35, 35, 35, bid 35. Anybody 35, 5 on 35?
I'll bid 5 cents.
Got a nickel. Got 5 cents on the corn planter, but I need more. Anybody bid 10 then? 10, 10, 10, about 10, about 10, about sold for a nickel.
How about the plow?
Next item's a sulky plow. What am I bid for it? Anybody bid $10? $10 where? Anybody bid 10, 10, 10, about 10, about 10, about anybody bid 10?
I'll bid 5 cents.
Got a nickel bid. Anybody bid $1? Anybody bid $1? Sold a nickel.
That's the way the whole auction
Okay,
went.
next item's a
Each item on the farm was sold for a nickel. The bank only got a little better than $23 out of the whole sale.
Have it sold for a nickel.
But that's counting the $17 paid for the hay mower. And that fellow traded back the mower in exchange for his trousers. Anyways, when it was all over, everybody gave all the stuff they bought back to the Cederstroms. To this day, that family is still farming. John, I think it is, Harold's oldest, is on the home place now. And you know, they weren't the only ones who were helped. Farmers all over the area managed to stick it out.